everybody. Thanks for dropping in. Now, don't take the fact that we're going to be dressed in different clothes here in about 30 seconds. That's guaranteed new content here. So anyway, I'm JDV. This is Warpig.
I'm Warpig. And Doug Henning.
Thanks for stopping in. So I'm not entirely sure when we're going to air this episode. I'm probably at the end of July.
I never know.
We'll see. Anyway, so
end up on YouTube.
we're going to dive into the top 10 best fantasy weapons.
Fantasy weapons.
So fantasy weapon, what would you say? If we go into the realm of sword and sandals, sword and sorcery type films, because that's really, I guess.
Well, because look, you're a kid, you play D&D, I play D&D, fantasy is in your blood, you watch these movies.
No, because...
And when you think about fantasy weapons are always cool.
Yeah.
Even just regular, just standard swords are cool, man. That's just a cool
If you had
concept.
to pick one fantasy weapon ever in any fantasy film, what would it be?
That was the coolest. The one that first comes to mind is the full auto crossbow from Hawk the Slayer.
Pretty tough to beat the full auto crossbow.
When Ranalph pulls it out, you're like, fuck, that's awesome.
The one-arm man,
dude, everybody put that into their campaign. Like, you instantly went to the sheets. Okay, it's a +3 weapon. It fires full auto. You can roll 10 dice or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, the full auto crossbow from Hawk the Slayer, which, if you haven't seen it, see Hawk the Slayer. Yeah, that is so cool in a fantasy movie. You're just like, wow,
so great.
that's just badass.
There's a guy on YouTube, we'll put that link below, where he just cranks the thing or does some
fucking god.
Where it is basically a semi-auto crossbow. Or
he's got that drill mounted rack and pinion job where he goes, let me show you its features.
Yeah.
He goes, just laughing all the way. I'm like, 2024?
Yeah, so the semi-auto crossbow is actually...
It's full auto. It's not semi. Well, it's full.
But it's a believable thing.
Hell yeah, because you saw the guy do it. Now, look, the way they depicted the Hawk Slayer, of course, it's not going to work like that. But you don't care. You're a kid. You're like, wow, it's fucking badass.
This is right from the same time as Hawk the Slayer. Well, what about the Mind Sword from Hawk the Slayer? I thought that was a pretty sweet weapon. Yeah, where it can block things and has a glowing elvish hand or whatever.
The idea of the sword coming to you. I mean, yeah, they...
A semi-intelligent sword.
Wait a minute.
Oh?
Wait a minute.
Go on.
Now, what is the whole thing about the Mind Sword, right? It'll come to your hand when you think about it.
It has telepathic connection.
You realize that they didn't do that in Star Wars until Empire Strikes Back. Which means that it was in Hawk the Slayer first.
Oh, yeah. For sure it was.
We go... Yeah. So... You have what is rightfully mine.
Back to Hawk the Slayer again. But yeah, I mean, so that's two weapons from Hawk the Slayer, though, the Mind Sword and the...
It's just cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Badass,
I like the wizard weapon where they covers you with webs. I know it's silly string, but when you're a kid, you're like, who cares? It's a cool weapon.
It's a cool-ass weapon, Dan.
Where would you put the sword from Excalibur? The titular sword.
Dude, it's Excalibur. I'm going to vote for it just on that basis.
Yeah, it's cool. So awesome in that movie.
And, okay, so it begs me
because
question.
there have been 100 imitations of that sword in fantasy films since.
So I can open the spear.
Let's give it here. I should break my knife. But God, it is a beautiful, beautiful weapon in that movie. And it is
when he pulls it out, everyone goes, oh.
It is literally...
Behold, Excalibur!
Sword. Power.
when beast and man were one, and death was but a dream.
But a dream. Yeah.
Oh, man, Nicole
Come on, it's got to be in the top 10.
191 gang!
What about the spear from Dragon Slayer? Same time period, right?
Pulled it out, dude. I was going to grab that. I was totally going to grab that.
That's a pretty cool weapon.
Dragon Slayer with that spear. Because the blacksmith is like the best I've ever done. It's fucking huge, badass. And by the way, proves what Skull Gladiator says. Dude, spear versus sword, spear wins. Spear wins almost every damn time. Yeah, that's why they equip their armies with spears. Swords is a luxury weapon. I mean, the only thing cool about it is you can carry it with you.
The sword is the pistol of our modern age.
Right. Everybody else, pole arms and spears, dude.
Because one thing is... a sword will go dull after 4 or 5 hits. I mean, what
Right.
do you think you're doing with it? You're whacking the shit out of it on something.
But
A sword or a spear.
Yeah, a spear. I can
just
give
poking.
20 farmers spears.
And you'd be in big trouble.
Pretty goddamn effective.
You'd be in big trouble.
But yeah, the spear from Dragon Slayer.
And that's probably the
That's
ultimate
pretty
spear
badass.
in movies.
Yeah.
All right.
So, which brings you back around to the idea of
There's a lot of good fantasy weapons, man.
there's a lot of good fantasy weapons now. Now here's something that you might not have considered, right? So you think
I know
about
I've got one you haven't considered.
well, when you think about the glaive from Krull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is sweet, but the idea one of the flaws
It is sweet in that movie. It's
It's
the only
sweet.
sweet thing in the movie, other than
yeah.
Burner
Well,
Bless.
you know what's funny? That movie is entirely awesome, except the guy who plays the lead.
It's one of
He's
those.
so bad that he ruins the film. Like he's completely out of place. He's a giant.
He's like the
Pansy. I
he's
mean-
like the villain from Commando.
Yeah, he's just such a. Dan Hedaya is the villain from Commando. Yeah, he's just such a pansy. You don't believe it.
No.
You don't get behind him. Like you're watching the movie.
No,
you're
he's
watching
fair.
the bandits who are great.
Well, it's
Liam
like-
Neeson's in that movie.
Well,
Again,
there's a
Liam
lot
Neeson,
of
dude.
sweet
A lot of
people in
English
that,
actors. Yeah.
which is why that movie should be a lot better than it is. But you're right, the lead actor's terrible. It's sort of like casting John Boy in Battle Beyond the Stars. Wow,
Right.
in this cast, just horribly.
And you know what's funny
They
is
could have
that
had a lot. They could have had Tom Cruise in that film.
what's funny about that is when you think
Literally.
about those movies, you think about Sam Jones in Flash Gordon.
That performance is looking better with each.
Well, that's what I'm
passing moment.
saying. You would be tempted initially to reject that, but then when you see it
He has
again, you're
aged
like,
very well.
he's actually
He's doing
better than I gave him credit
he
for
is
at the
doing
time.
exactly what they wanted
Yep.
him to do. He is.
And there's certain parts of the movie that's just not his fault. You know what I'm saying? He's great in it. And just when you go through Flash Gordon, I don't want to use the Flash Gordon episode, but when you go through Flash Gordon and list out what happens,
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden, Christina Ricci is. But when you go through the script and see what happens, you're like, dude, they have a whip fight on a rotating spike platform.
Yeah.
That's pretty goddamn cool. But anyway, but the glaive, the problem with the glaive is the fact that you throw it. And thrown weapons,
No.
not that cool, because once you throw the glaive, you really got to
It's
count on that.
fantasy weapon.
When you got to count on that coming
It's
back.
fantasy. It's fantasy.
You know what I'm saying? You just, but it's cool as hell though when it does
so,
what it
all right,
does.
so this isn't quite a fantasy film, although it's close. How about the Feral Kid in?
From Road Warrior,
when he
yeah,
whips
he's got that bladed boomerang.
See, that's I can't half-ass believe that.
He cuts the one dude's hand off.
Yeah, I was like,
Or his fingers, right? Lord Homunculus. It's fucking great. And he wastes one guy played by Vernon Wells, his fucking little cuck bitch, and he pulls around on his bike.
And
Dude, the Feral Kid plants the...
yeah, the guy on the motorcycle is the villain from Commando. Way to bring that around.
Yeah, Vernon Wells. Outstanding. He plays Bennett. Right, Bennett from Commando.
Bandit.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Holy mackerel! But that's kind of I don't know. Throwing weapons okay.
Well,
Because doesn't the guy from Beastmaster have like a little 3 Chucky thing?
but it's not the main. Look, the main part of Beastmaster is the fact that he controls animals. And John Amos in it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, badass. It's a shame he didn't do more fantasy movies, dude. John
Rip Torn
Amos is
is great in it,
badass,
too.
man. You believe every word of it.
Yep.
Well, guy's fantastic. You know what's funny? You know what we missed? And
Well, wait a minute.
you had a big one though. You had a big one you wanted to get to. You had one you pulled from the sky. What is it, man?
Oh well. How about the weapons from Shogun Assassin? Guy with the hook, his mystical sword.
See,
they're all very real
Dude, we
weapons.
veered into a whole new realm, man.
But that's fantasy, isn't it? It's just
It's fantasy in the same way
Japanese fantasy.
the movie Master of the Flying Guillotine. You ever seen that?
Maybe.
It's basically a weapon he's got on the end of a chain. He throws it out, it lands on your head, and cuts your fucking head off.
Well, they're
Unrealistic? Sure. Fun?
But
Yeah,
there's
the
a
whole
lot
movie's
of-
about it.
there's a lot of that style of film that has They're martial arts weapons, technically, but
they're
they just would never work
like
quite
the
that.
buggy with the spikes on the
Yeah, but
side.
so the guy with the claws in Shogun Assassin, you know, he rakes your face, punches you and stuff.
But then again, you say that like it wouldn't work, but no, there's historical precedent for those kinds of weapons to actually work. But think about
just
the
because
Indian,
it's real doesn't mean
Indian
it-
push daggers. I mean, that's a
The
real.
Qatar?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Qatar?
Qatar.
New Yellow Devil?
We never did Pink Panther. But okay.
This is a real world weapon,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
not fantasy, I don't think. Where Excalibur clearly is.
It's a fantasy film, right?
Even I would say Shogun Assassin. How about Braveheart? His broadsword, his greatsword.
Now,
That's pretty.
They don't make
They
an
have
emphasis
sold
on it.
one. Oh, I don't know about
But
that. It's the very end of the film.
Freedom. He just. What I'm saying is, he doesn't really talk about the sword.
No, they
but
don't-
it is
They
featured
don't talk about it at all, but
right in
it's
the film.
clearly it ends the movie, dude. It lands in the dirt.
That's right. You're right. Freedom.
And I would say that
You played with
sword,
Wallace.
that sword is
Played
more
with me.
impressive than
Than
the
Excalibur.
44
Well,
Magnum. No, I'm talking just real
I know what
world
you're
weapons.
saying,
No,
right.
give me Excalibur. It's his shit. It's magical. Cut your head, head off with you just touch it.
Excalibur.
Well, we're talking about how the fantasy, the automatic crossbow from Hawk the Slayer affected. Excalibur really did affect D&D quite a bit because it gave you that idea of
The
severing.
Vorpal sword.
Yeah, the Vorpal.
The Vorpal
thing,
sword,
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus 5 Vorpal sword.
Right, a
Right,
holy,
totally.
holy Vorpal sword in that game is unstoppable. So, what would you say the
probably
ultimate,
pretty
the fantasy weapon that you would most want to have?
Shit. The full auto crossbow.
See, that'd be my number two.
Bad,
Yeah,
dude.
how could I get off Excalibur? It's just so great.
Yeah.
The design is
when
so
you're going
cool.
through, I mean, just.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, but the full auto crossbow, I mean,
pretty sweet.
the fact that they made a real one.
Well,
that guy's
all right.
fucking great.
Maybe the three-bladed sword in Sword and Sorcerer by Talon.
With Lee Horsley, right? Yeah. Paching.
That's great, too.
Chunk. Oh.
I think that's a fantastic little prop.
You know what's is?
Oh yeah, we ought to. Okay, so that's fantasy, and we talked a little horror. Any ones that are horror? I think we talked about Freddy Krueger.
Ooh, yeah, but Freddy Krueger's hand
Maybe
for
the knife
sure.
from Michael Myers.
Well, you
It's weird though. There's not like the chainsaw.
just chainsaws from Leatherface.
Axe for Jack Nicholson. But still,
But
nothing.
somebody use a unique
The
weapon.
glove really is the one that stands out, isn't
Yeah,
it? Because it is a unique weapon.
Right. That was.
It's
The only other
it's
thing
something
that
you
comes
could buy,
close is
you know?
not a weapon, and that would be the silver balls from Fantastic.
Well, that's pretty good.
But
yeah.
that's not a weapon.
It's kind of like a robot.
Right,
It's like
it's
a
more like a
Terminator.
robot. Right. I mean, it's like a character unto itself. So as far as a weapon is concerned from a horror film,
So thanks for watching this crazy version
Mishmash of
Best
madness.
Fantasy Weapons. Like, subscribe. We got a whole bunch of new content coming out. Reanimated episode 4. Another short horror film called No One In, No One Out. Our full-length film, 5 Must Die, is going to be coming out, I think, on Halloween night. So we got a bunch of content, hopefully coming out here in late summer, early fall, going all the way up through winter, and some other announcements coming up. Love each other, subscribe, stay safe and everything. Until next time. What are you doing with your crinkling?
Oh, I thought you were over.
throw an accent.
Oh, we're doing
an epilogue.
yeah. Hey, the kids love it.
A sign of quality.
Jesus. We did not talk about.
DSL Coda.
We did not talk about the rifle or carbine that the apes use in Planet of the Apes. 'Cause come on, man. Those are amazing. And I don't know if you call that sci-fi or fantasy or both, but that is,
It's got to sit in sci-fi, right? I mean,
I guess technically,
it's dystopian sci-fi because of how they.
but
got
those are
there.
great weapons, right?
They are pretty cool. I mean, they
they're
are very
dope.
distinctive.
They're very
You know
bel-
when you see them.
Very believable, right? I mean, and they match the city and everything. That'd be pretty bad if we missed that.
Get your filthy hands off me, you damn dirty ape!
Where does Johnny Sacco's robot?
But
Because he controls it.
Yeah.
He's not a cyborg. Without him, the robot's nothing. Isn't the robot just a gun?
Boy, that's reaching because
I know it's
because you can say it's Ed 209. It's the ABC Warrior.
No, because a human does never control Ed 209.
But Johnny Sacco doesn't control the robot fighting.
Yes, he does. He tells him what to do.
But he tells them to fight. And then he doesn't say left punch, right punch, left punch.
No, right.
Left
The robot
kick.
goes into a predetermined fight sequence. Yeah.
But it's not predetermined because he'd have to be reacting to what's happening. Die! Die! Die, old man! I want you to die.
I want you to die.
You filthy virus. Die, you bastard.
Because I know, like Timmy's already jumping on us for missing some weapon
What
off.
a dick!
Oh, butthole. But it is weird how
Well, I hope you die.
having a really good weapon, it just sell a movie so much. It really Bond's weapon.
Having a cool.
Oh, that's
interesting. We never have talked about
Tron, yeah.
with the discs. Dude, how many people played disc-based video games because of Tron?
Yeah. It's just, I don't think it makes top 10, though. I mean, because you have to be in the Tron universe for it to work.
I don't care for the remake.
It's okay. It's good to be.
That's the problem.
It's good to be high on life, too.
Right. I mean, that's the problem.
Because of the soundtrack,
it's just.
Soundtrack's amazing. Yeah.
Right.
God, did he?
When Tron is like, wow.
We didn't. I don't think we talked about Pitch Black. There's some great weapons in that. But he's the weapon. Again, he's the weapon, right? So
he's
it's
Jeff Speakman in the future, right?
He is American Ninja. Perfect weapon. All right, Blah. I guess we should work Dennis in on an episode.
Hey, Esho.
Hey, you, Fangool.
Hey, Dick, come here.
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.